What's up, RotoGrinders? Dean here, Dean7904. If you want to get all technical, 2 hours of Mlb Dfs conversation starts now. Takes you all straight up to lock. We have crunch time coming in about an hour and 15 minutes. You get DerekCarty, CEO of the Bat and the Blitz, as well as SquirrelPatrol, has been to about 1 billion live finals, give or take 1 billion. And then you have Kevin Roth, Chief Meteorologist Kevin Roth. We don't have anything as far as precipitation that I see, but we do have. I feel like TJ, of course, TJ March, one of the greatest DFS players in all of Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, Canada. TJ joining the show. It's an intimate show, by the way, TJ, just the two of us. Your usage, man, you got a big usage bump. People are rostering you today in DFS for sure. You're underpriced. I feel like we haven't had a Wrigley win game like in a while, or like it feels like it's been only a couple all season. We got a win game in Wrigley. Are we excited? How do you feel? You excited about this or what?
Yeah, I'm very excited. Got some home run bets in already. There's a huge bump in weather edge. Going to be 15, 20 kilometer or mile an hour winds there. The Canadian just slipped out. Whatever it is. But yeah, ready to dive into that Wrigley win game. The Cubs are going to be my highest owned stack today. Spoiler warning. And I got lots of Spidey bombs ready for the people. We'll drop one every 50 likes. So keep smashing that like button. I got lots of home run picks for you today. Lots of usage, but playing hurts. I sore SI joint yesterday before bed, my hip lower back area, and then I woke up this morning and it was just so much worse. So I'm going to be squirming a little bit throughout this show, but we'll make it through, and then I'm going to finish building my lineups, watch some crunch time while laying in bed.
Yeah, you were questionable with the hip, but you're going to give it a go. You're a gamer. We do appreciate you jumping on here. Just the two of us. I guess I should say the three of us. Is Spidey? Spidey is lurking. He's around somewhere, yes?
Yeah. He's lurking. He's ready to go. I might even just do some things where I just like throughout the show, I might tilt my camera up like this and then just like stand and do like a little standing show for a while just to stretch that back out because it really is that bad. But I'm here. I'm ready to break down this MLB slate.
I'm curious. You said you got some homer bets in, and you have that I don't know where you get your bets in the dark web, and a site that nobody's ever heard of, exclusively in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, Canada. Did you get some really good odds as far as the win there in Chicago? Were they not adjusted to the, what's going on there win wise? I imagine you have you picked off a couple from that game.
Yeah, I did. I got some good ones. I got, let's see, looking at it here, Bellinger plus 540, Swanson plus 480. Robert plus 465 and Tauchman plus 740.
Those are spectacular numbers. And so just so you know, I mean, if you shop around here, Caesars has Bellinger at 390. Fanduel's got him at 360. Tauchman is leading off, by the way. That lineup just dropped. We're talking about plus 540 currently for Tauchman, so you're getting a couple hundred points on that as well. Chicago lineup, the Cubbies, that is Tauchman, Horner, Happ, Bellinger, Swanson, Morel, Candelario, Suzuki, and Barnhart. No Jan Gomes. It is Barnhart. And it's tricky because we're going to talk about the White Sox. And, you have Tim Anderson and Benintendi, who I think, they still have a combined like 2 home runs now? What is it, 2, maybe 3? Leading off there against Javier Assad. No Eloy Jimenez, by the way. So he was one of those guys that would certainly be in play. He was pretty cheap, plenty of power, and of course, the boost of the win would help him immensely. Anderson, Benintendi, Robert, Moncada, Vaughn, Sheets, Grandal, Elvis Sanders, and Oscar Colas. 11 total as of right now. And Weather Edge, you kind of mentioned it, worth talking about to give it a refresh before the show. No fire emoji for what it's worth, but 166 previous games in Wrigley with a similar weather, 78 degrees as far as the temperature, winds blowing out 11 miles per hour, left, center. 58 is the old dew point in 166 games. And that's a good sample, right? That's a good enough number for you. It's a good enough number for me.
Yeah, it's not bad. I'm definitely willing to take that as an appropriate sample size.
We've seen a boost. I know Carty's going to be on later. He wants 10,000 games played out first before he can decide if the win's good or bad. 51% boost in homers, 27% boost in runs, a 27% increase in the ERA has been inflated by that much as well, too. So, it's very, very clearly positive ballpark for hitting. And Assad versus Clevenger, 2 pitchers we're not necessarily afraid of. We also have By the way, I'm really curious to hear what Carty has to say. I'm sure I imagine you took a look at the bat today. The bat is loving itself some Blake Snell, and it's really, really interesting. And I look at, the RotoGrinders projections, I look at the bat projections, and the ownership projections also kind of coincide with that. And because the bat projection is so high on Snell, who just is going to walk four guys, like that's just what he does, and he almost always weasels his way out of it. And it's a super impressive talent. How about just not walk the guys? Let's just cut out the middle, man. I know it's tricky for him to do. Also, he has an extreme pitchers umpire for what it's worth, so maybe that'll help him a little bit in the corners. But have you seen the projection for Snell per the bats? It's really, really high because I think Gausman, Snell, Kershaw, Castillo, Nola are kind of like sort of all more or less the same, but the bat disagrees a little bit on that. I want your assessment as far as the pitchers. 5 really good pitchers up top. We have a pretty good cheap one as well, which we'll delve into. But yeah, let's talk pitching as far as this slate today. And Snell is one of the big decision points. And we know Dave Potts, cheese is good. One of his general rules, I'm big on general rules, and I like this general rule. If Snell's going to be popular, you're supposed to be under the field on him. And, as of right now, we have Snell at 32% ownership on DK, the highest, 34%. That is the MLB Plate IQ projections, the RotoGrinders projections per the bat. It's like 50%. Yeah, 54. Because, again, it kind of coincides with that really, really high projection. So that's the first decision point on the slate. Would you agree with that as far as what to do with Snell?
Yeah, so I'm running 150 again today. I did see that bat projection, and I'm running a single entry in addition to the 150. But I did see that bat projection. For what it's worth, I didn't bump it down. I didn't manually bump it down at all because I do still want to get to Snell. But I bumped Gausman's way up so that to make sure that I was getting as much, if not more, Gausman than Blake Snell. I got a total of 7 pitchers in the pool today if we want to play the feud. But
yeah.
Snell and Gausman, they are 2 of them. So brings you down to 5.
Yeah, I mean, I would have said them both. I mean, unless you're making some kind of dramatic stand, which it wouldn't be. I don't think it's completely nuts just saying no Snell. And like if that's what you want to do, that's what you're doing today. There's plenty of good pivots. And certainly Snell's the guy that can walk 6 dudes and have 70 pitches thrown in the first 3 innings. That's not something I'm doing, but I think I'm going to be under the field. And I just want to kind of monitor what ownership does because I really want to hear what Carty has to say, like why he has that's so high on Snell. And then I want to give everything away. Obviously, support Carty, support the bat. Nobody talking about it when he comes on here. But the bat projection I have it on Fanduel. Let me jump to DK just because that seems to work better. Okay, so our MLB Plate IQ projections, we have 21 for Gausman. This is DK as a median projection. 21 for Gausman, 20 for Snell, 19 for Castillo, 17 for Nola, Paxton 17, Kershaw 17. I'm rounding up a little bit, and again, there's issues with him as far as pitch count. So yeah, Gausman's ahead of Snell by a point. And if you go to the bat, which a lot of times these numbers are pretty similar, just Snell separating himself as a median projection at 25 fantasy points is kind of an outrageous number, man. And I don't know. And again, who am I to question the bat? And Carty does a fabulous job, but I really, really want to hear what he has to say. And Baltimore's a patient team too. I don't know, man. It's pretty wild though, right? The separation that Snell has as a median projection at 25 points. Also throwing 112 pitches. I guess that's part of it too. The longest leash. But yeah, that to me is a big conversation. I'm still kind of figuring it out, TJ, as far as what to do with Snell in my main lineup. I don't make 150 lineups. Yeah, I make several main lineups. I'll be in the Slam on FanDuel. I'll be in the single entry series for RotoGrinders on FanDuel as well. The $50 variety this week. I'm not sure. I don't know. And I think there's really good pivots. Gausman, you mentioned him. I think he's great. Castillo against Kansas City. Kansas City still stinks. Last I checked. Nola's fine. Your Blue Jays are kind of overrated. Obviously, you're hurt as well without Bichette. But the point is there's a lot of good pivots away from Snell if you want to get away from it. And if his ownership's around 50%, or 40, I think you're supposed to be under that.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I will be under that number today. And for what it's worth, neither Snell or Gausman are going to be in my main lineup.
Okay. What, do you have like a single entry lineup when you say your main lineup?
Yeah. And it's not like very high dollar. It's just I throw it in the 15, then I throw it in a whole bunch of small qualifiers, try and get a bunch of tickets for NFL season. And so it's nothing major, but I'm fading both of the expensive guys in that one lineup.
Gotcha. In chat, by the way, what's up, chat? Kindly hit that like button, subscribe, turn on the notifications, do all those things. We much appreciate it. If you aren't aware, by the way, Chief Justice, his show at 4:30 comes on now. His Take Your Pick'em show. If you're in the prize pick streets, the underdog streets, do make sure to check that out. That comes on before us. I happen to notice a comment from Bless saying Kansas City stinks. They've been one of the hottest teams in baseball, LMAO. And that means, well, can we say the A part? You know what that means, right? You know what the kids are saying, right? You get it, TJ? Does that translate for you?
Yes. I think I have that one. I'm not 100% positive. I believe we're laughing our apples off.
Yes, sure.
But I'm not positive.
So Kansas City is 27th in baseball when it comes to WRC plus. Okay, maybe they've been hot in the last. I honestly can't pinpoint have they been hot in the last week or 5 days or 4 days? What's the sample size they've been hot in? And like, how much do you care about that? Because give me the bigger sample as opposed to the smaller sample. They've been good for the last 4 days. Good for them. And I'm not picking on you, just for the record. I don't be a. Oh wait, Bless was being ironic, and I fell for it. I'm a big dope. Bad job by me. Yeah. So yeah, Kansas City stinks. Maybe they have been hot of late. So yeah. What was the point I was making? Let's just throw it out because there's no more point to be made. But yeah, Kansas City, we can agree they stink as a whole. Well, any given day, sure, but overall, the Royals aren't good at baseball. TJ?
The Orioles aren't good at baseball. I think the Orioles are good at baseball.
No, the Royals. The Royals.
No, the Royals aren't very good at baseball. They have a few good bats in that lineup, but they are not very good at baseball. It sounded like
Billy
you said
Butler
Orioles.
ain't walking through that.
I thought it sounded like you said Orioles, and then I thought you were going to start a new point about the Orioles, and then I was like waiting because I wasn't sure where the Orioles came from, and you were just like running it back to Snell. But
yeah, no worries. Yeah, that makes sense.
I took for the back have me a little loopy.
Fair enough. Yeah, well, no worries. We'll be fine. We're going to power on through for sure. So we're going to play the feud. And if the chat wants to play along, feel free to play along at home at your own leisure. I'm just going to play, name the pitchers that are on your board. There are 16 pitchers throwing baseballs tonight. Kansas City is an opener situation, right? Isn't that what's going on there? I don't think you're wrong. I believe so. I like to kind of work backwards sometimes, which is because you're not playing James MacArthur or Alec Marsh. You're not playing Wade Miley. You're not playing Randy Vasquez. You're not playing Assad. You're not playing Clevenger. And we're on our way. Okay. Let's just say, okay, Gausman. Give me the pitch on Gausman. Of course, he's on your board. Why is Gausman on your board? Where do you have him as far as ownership relative to the field?
One of the very best pitchers in baseball, especially from a DFS perspective. Great strikeout guy. Philly is a pretty strong lineup in terms of power, but they also got some strikeouts there. And so Gausman, I'm going to be pretty close to even with the field. Probably going to have between like 30 and 35% of him. But he is, if I was choosing one for tournaments between Snell and Gausman, it'd be Gausman today.
Yeah, I think that's where I'm at too. Especially if the ownership is where, like, if it's like a combination of what the bat and what the RG plate IQ projections have. As far as the plate IQ projections, it's pretty similar, right? Snell at 34, Gausman at 32. We'll talk about John Gray getting 25%. Seems a little underpriced against the underwhelming Angels. He's 6'9". Paxton at 21%. Castillo 17. Dola 16. And everybody else. Kershaw getting 10 is an interesting conversation. That's just about how long is he going to stick around for. I think if he was throwing 95 baseballs, you feel pretty good about him. But just a second start back. Dodgers are not thinking about August 16th versus the Brewers on a Wednesday night. They're thinking about playoffs. They're thinking about the World Series. They have obviously a much bigger picture outlook. All right, moving on. I got a phone call in my ear and it distracted me for a second. My apologies if you can catch that little bit of a hiccup. back to the feud. And let's just talk about Snell, by the way, because the the walks are outrageous. They're almost unacceptable. 13.9% walks. That is goofy. Of course, the strikeouts are fabulous. They're 31.3% strikeouts. Second only to Kevin Gausman at 32.5%. I believe Gausman, last I checked, actually has the second highest K rate in all of baseball. We do not have a Baltimore lineup out just yet, right? I don't believe so. That is a late game. We're getting some coming in. All right. So, yeah, no Baltimore lineup just yet, but the projected lineup for Baltimore facing Snell. And again, he does have an extreme pitcher's umpire, so you certainly can use that. But we're looking at, Rushman, Mountcastle, Santander, Hayes, Westberg, Urias, Hicks, McCann, Mateo. They're expecting Mullins not to play left on left. There are a fair bit of Ks in there, 22.2% collectively. But again, pretty patient, especially Santander and Rushman, guys at the top, guys that are most likely to see Snell 3 times. Rushman at 17% walks, Santander at 16.5%. Even Hicks in a small samples walked a fair bit. You like this projected lineup against Snell? Is it a positive lineup from the face? A lot of power, obviously. Pretty patient, at least in some spots. Other spots, not patient at all. But if this is what it is, what are you thinking as far as the matchup for Snell?
Yeah, it's good enough for me. My thing with Snell is it's not even so much about the matchup or how I feel about Baltimore, because due to Snell's ownership, I'm going to be stacking a decent amount of Baltimore in tournaments anyways. But the reason I want to have a lot of Snell in my pool is just because he could have 30 DK points today. And he could, and so the fact that he could, I want to make sure that I don't not have any of him if he breaks the slate, and he absolutely could break the slate. And so that's basically what it comes down to for me. He's strikes out 30+% to both sides of the plate. Yeah, he walks a lot as well, but like you mentioned, extreme pitchers umpire, he could have 12 Ks today, and if he does, I want to make sure I have a piece of him.
They're talking about Mackenzie Gore in chat, and I wrote up on Scores and Odds today. I don't think he goes beyond 5 innings. It's just kind of one of my takes on this slate. They're a dead team, Washington. They're just playing out the string. Mackenzie Gore has a long injury history. I think he's 30 innings over his career high as far as innings pitched. He's theoretically the number one ace of the future for Washington. He even talked about how they have like a plan in place. They're running on a 6-man rotation now. All the signs are there that they're not going to let him go. Maybe beyond, if he's incredibly crazy efficient, maybe let him go 6 or so. I don't think they let him go beyond 5. He's gone 5 in 3 of his last 4. He even went just 5 innings. I guess he was at 95 pitches, but he had that 90 pitches. He had that fabulous start against Sam Fran not too long ago, where he was pitching a shutout, 8 strikeouts, 90 pitches. They gave him the hook. I don't see him sticking around that long. And the matchup against Boston's not great. Boston, is top 10 basically in any category you can think of versus lefties, and they are pretty patient as well. So I'm not nominating Gore. I think he's one of those that I would consider not playing at all in 150. That might be a little bit, I don't want to say ballsy, but I think most people probably would have some Gore. I don't know if I will. That's one of my stands today. I'm anti-Gore, but we're going to put that one on the back burner for a second. Let's knock out a couple more easy ones. I think that you're going to have John.
Topic of Gore, I won't say yet. I won't spoil how much, if any, Gore I have today. However, we're at 50 likes, so keep smashing that like button so we can get more home run calls. But the very first Spidey bomb of the day is going up against Mackenzie Gore. It's Justin Turner, who has had a bit of a resurgence in Boston this year. I've been betting him for home runs most of the time he faces a lefty, and it's been going pretty well. You can get him for plus 450 on Fanduel, and Justin Turner is Spidey bomb number 1.
Yeah, good hitters ballpark there in Washington as well. That makes me think you might be not on Gore as well. I'm curious, but I'm just going to back burner that and knock out a couple of the quote unquote easier ones. I think John Gray at 6.9K versus Shohei Ohtani and a bunch of dudes on the Angels. Gray is cheap enough. He's got a leash where theoretically he can put up a pretty big score for a really cheap price. He's been kind of up and down this season. But, if you want to get an extra bat or two, he's the guy I think you're looking at on this slate, kind of working your way backwards. You're not going to play MacArthur. You're not going to play Marsh. You're not going to play Clevenger. You could play Gore at 6K, and that's the best argument for him, right? You're not necessarily paying for a full allotment of innings, a full allotment of pitches. You're not playing Vasquez or Assad or Miley. See, those are the two cheapies, right? Gray and Gore. So I think you're going to have some Gore, actually. But I think you have some Gray, too. John Gray's on the board.
John Gray is on the board. Ding, ding, ding. He is tied for my highest owned pitcher today. Blake Snell and Gaussman are tied for my third highest owned pitcher today. Gray, sorry, the other G, Gray is tied for my highest owned pitcher.
Yeah, there's Bless in chats at 0% Gray in 300 lineups. All right. Yeah, I mean, you could survive without having Gray. Like I said, he's been kind of up and down this season. Coming off one of his best starts of the year, that's a 7-inning performance there against San Fran. Got a bunch of ground balls and 7 Ks as well. And again, this Angels lineup, it's basically Ohtani and a bunch of dudes that we're not necessarily afraid of, and the price is pretty good. Let's see, who else are we going to throw? I'm seeing the check if they're playing along, if they're throwing some things out there. They're talking about, let's see, Gaussman, Castillo, Gray, Snell, Kershaw, Nola. So I think there's a chance you're going to have 0 Kershaw because you're just going to say, he's not going to throw more than 85 pitches or so. And maybe he goes 5 innings and strikes out 10 against Milwaukee. Like, that's possible. But it seems like he's really got to thread that needle. So I'm going to back burner that one as well. But he's one of the less likely guys I'm going to throw out up top. I think you're gonna have some Luis Castillo against those terrible Royals. Let's talk about that. Castillo, show me Castillo.
No Luis Castillo today for me.
Have you heard the Royals are terrible?
The Royals are hot, Dean.
How many runs have they scored in the last 4 or 5 games? I mean, I've been playing the slates, but I genuinely don't know. Like, I just forget that Men in Black, like Mind Eraser thing. I take it every single morning, and it's like I forget what happened yesterday. It's a clean slate. It's DFS. We care about today and today only. But why no Castillo?
I don't know. I got to find some places to take some stands today, and most of my stands are that I don't want to spend up a whole lot today, and Snell and Gaussman are the two guys that I think are the two most likely to break the slate, and so I'm going without Luis Castillo.
Okay, I'm pulling up the Royals. I want to see how the chat's talking about how hot they are. Producer Steve's talking about how hot they are. Okay, they lost 10 8th yard. I remember that when they lost. Wait, hold on. That was their most recent games. I'm looking at their first game of the season. I'm working backwards. So it'll take me a while to get there. Oh, yeah, that was the game. Okay, yeah. They lost 10-8 in extra innings. So they did put up a bunch of runs. They won 7-6 versus Seattle. That was the walk-off they had. I know Witt had like a walk-off grand slam not too long ago. I feel like that happened a week or two ago. But okay, I guess the Royals have been scoring some runs. But have you seen the Royals lineup? I know Witt's spectacular, but you got Perez, you have a catcher, and then Massey's cheap. Melendez is okay. The rest of these guys, though, it's pretty rough. No power up top in Garcia, but all right. Let me ask you this: are you going to be stacking some Royals against Castillo, or just kind of abstaining from that game overall?
I have Witt, Massey, and was there a third?
Sal Perez, catcher. Melendez?
No, and MJ Melendez. Witt, Massey, and Melendez are all in my pool as potential one-offs.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I personally, I would have some Castillo. What do we have as far as ownership-wise for Castillo today? 17%. That's currently on DK. Yeah. Going to give us a refresh, get the most up-to-date number. Drew Waters is in the pool there in chat as well. Waters didn't crack your pool?
No, he didn't.
There's a little bit of wordplay there too, right? All right, Paxton. We're talking about James Paxton against Washington. I'm not a big Paxton guy, but we know the deal with Washington. We know who they are, right? They're a contact team, but besides making contact, they don't do anything else. They pop out, they strike out, they ground. No, they don't really strike out. They ground out, they pop out, that kind of thing. Not a lot of power. Paxton's fine. I don't know. He's second tier behind Castillo and Nola and Snell for me, but like he should be in the mix. Where is he in our consensus rankings? Because I think he was like top 4 or 5. I was just looking at that before the show. Let's see. Myself and Tim, Head Chopper, Squirrel, who's going to be on later. We have our consensus rankings when it comes to pitchers. Gaussman is number 1. Castillo is number 2. Snell is number 3. Paxton number 4. This is dollar for dollar as well. Gray is 5. Kershaw, Nola. A little bit of love for Gore. And then Dean Kramer got a little bit of a shout out as well from Chop. I think James Paxton's on your board. He's cheap enough where, yeah, he's 8-2. You got, and you're not having no Castillo. You're going to have some Paxton. Show me Paxton.
Paxton is on the board. You nailed it. He's 8-2. That's the reason. I'm going to be getting some Paxton today because he does have the strikeout upside and he's not very expensive. The 8-2 is the real thing that seals it for me today. Washington doesn't strike out a lot, but when Paxton's got his stuff going, it doesn't really matter who he's facing. So yes, Paxton is in the pool. I believe he might be my lowest owned pitcher. Let me check, but he is on the board and among the 7. I got 20% Paxton, and he is among 2 other players I have 20% of.
Okay, so we have let's a little refresh. We have what, 3 or 4 down and 3 left to go, right? It's officially how many we named so far.
Gaussman, Snell, Gray, and Paxton are all down. There are 3 to go.
And there's 1 X, right? I got Castillo wrong.
Correct.
I wonder if you're making a big stand on Gray because you're not playing Gore at all, but I think you're going to play some Gore. You like the cheaper pitchers. Mackenzie Gore is in your pool.
Mackenzie Gore is not only in my pool, but he is tied with John Gray as my highest owned pitcher today.
Yeah. I didn't sway you at all as far as like they're going to push back on him as an organization. They've openly talked about this. Now they're down to the 6-man rotation. He can pitch 5 good innings and who cares? And he's cheap enough for. I think the best endorsement is like the 6K, right? He's a competent pitcher.
He's 6K and he's got a lot of strikeout upside. And in addition to that, like I think the 6-man rotation is a good thing, not a bad thing for his pitch count. That tells me he's going to pitch less days, and so when he goes out there, he's probably not going to be limited as often. So as opposed to trying to figure out which one of those it is, I'm just rolling with the pitch count projection. It looks pretty good to me. He's a high strikeout guy. I will have some Boston. Obviously, I love Justin Turner as a one-off, but he is 6K with strikeout upside, and there's hot weather everywhere. I'm getting all over both Mackenzie Gore and John Gray today.
2 left. 2 left on the board.
2 left on the board.
Okay. I don't think Detmers is in your pool. No Marsh, no Assad, no Clevenger, no Miley, no Vasquez. I don't think you have Charlie Morton. So we're talking about Nola is still standing. He's probably in it. Taking on your Blue Jays and Kershaw and Kramer. So it's probably 2 of those 3. It's 2 of Nola, Kershaw, and Kramer. Yeah. Nola's in. Nola's in your pool. Tell us how much Nola you have and why you have him.
Nola is one of the 2 guys alongside James Paxton at 20% today. He's just at 19. I got him in 28 of 150 lineups. And so Aaron Nola is my lowest owned pitcher, but he's in the pool.
Man, I wonder if you're going to have Kershaw. I think it's either Kershaw or Kramer, last man standing. This Toronto lineup, by the way, taking on Nola, Merrifield, Belt, Vladdy, Springer, Biggio. Yeesh, when Biggio is batting 5th, you know you're in trouble there in Toronto. Kirk, Varsho, Espinal, and DeYoung. Is Vladdy still at like 5 homers at home for the season? It's so weird how terrible he's been there. What up with that? What's the story? It's just small sample like goofiness?
A bit of small sample goofiness combined with like we just don't really he hasn't hit with that much power anywhere this year. And so it's kind of twofold with him.
I think I was looking in this. He's got a ton of ground balls this year too. Like he's not elevating the ball. Now I have to check because I think he's like one of the leaders in like just hitting ground balls or line drives, maybe just not hitting fly balls. And obviously it's hard to hit homers when you are not hitting the ball in the air. No, not necessarily. 32% fly balls. It's nothing, it's basically with his career average. 47% ground balls this year. Last year, 52% ground balls. His home run the fly ball this year at 14.5%. That's the lowest it's been since 2019. His hard hit rate also down, the lowest it's been since 2019 as well. They did change those fences a little bit in Toronto, but it was sort of like neutral, right? I don't know how it's played out, but some parts positive, some parts negative, but nothing crazy, right? They elevated some pots, some points, and
yeah,
they kind of lowered the fences.
Brought it in, but then raised the fences.
Yeah, but okay. And he's also really, really cheap on FanDuel, just of note. Okay, but let's knock out one more pitcher. Who does the chat think it is? Sean wants to know if you're drunk today with your pitcher takes. You're not drunk, but you're on performance enhancers to some degree. And not that we're not going to have you pee in a cup or anything, but
yeah,
I kind of openly said
am in a absolute ton of pain, so I popped some muscle relaxants. But no, I've been pretty consistently. I've been on the same train as our guy Kirkwood. Whereas I've been significantly just focusing on pay down options, and it's been going pretty well for me. So I'm gonna keep that train rolling.
Is that an implication that I think you basically said it without saying it? If I'm hearing you correctly, it sounds like you're not playing Kershaw and you're playing Dean Kramer. If I was listening, if I was being a good host there, I think you're not playing Kershaw. I'm just gonna say he's out of the pool, and I know I'm changing the game for a second, but I'm saying Kershaw's not in your pool.
I cannot confirm or deny.
What? Wait, are you changing? Hold on, you did this last time where you changed the pool mid-game. Is that what you're doing again?
No, that's not what I'm doing, but I'm saying that you gotta say he is you gotta make an official guess or not an official guess.
Well, how do I guess that he's not in the pool? Just don't say his name?
Yeah.
Okay. I do not believe that Kershaw is in your pool now. Although I think I would get a piece just because he can strike out 10 of these Brewers. That's something he definitely can do in 5 innings. I know you're paying full price for not a full allotment of pitches. For what it's worth, we're projecting 82 pitches thrown out of Kershaw today, which he could be efficient and do he could do 6 innings. The tricky thing at Roberts, though, one thing I noticed in him, sometimes he doesn't seem to care about pitch count. It's just you're pitching 5 innings and that's that. You're not pitching any more than 6 and that's that. Who's this? What's this guy's name?
This is Obi-Wan.
How many others are? There's a couple, right? I know Obi-Wan. I know there's a couple.
There's Obi-Wan and Sonic.
Okay. Where's Sonic? Is Sonic getting jealous somewhere?
He is. Let's see if I can. There he is.
Oh, yeah. Sonic is very jealous. Is there room for 2 up there or no? Can Sonic hop up? Or
definitely not with this much back pain. Obi is about 8 pounds lighter than Sonic too, so that helps.
Fair enough. I think that, man, I'm trying. So you're definitely not playing Assad. I can't imagine you're playing Marsh or Clevenger or Miley or Vasquez. Possibly Charlie Morton. Is that possible? That's kind of off the board a little bit. He's getting 7% ownership, and we've seen him have games here and there. And the Yankees are kind of fraudulent. Some would say gutless. I'm going to say Dean Kramer is on the board, but I don't feel good about it.
No Dean Kramer for me today.
So now we have a decision point. It's very clearly either Kershaw or Charlie Morton that's on the board. Let's see. Yao Pete in chat says it's absolutely Kramer. Steve's saying you can play Assad. I don't think so. I know that the White Sox team's not very good, but you're not going to play against the Wrigley Wind, I don't think. We'll see. But yeah, that Chicago lineup's kind of rough. Assad is cheap. Oh man, is it Morton or is it Kurt? I'm going to say, you know what? I'm going to say Charlie Morton's in your pool. Out of nowhere. I haven't really thought about him the whole show, but now I think he's getting 15-20%. Charlie Morton. You like the cheaper pitchers, so I think Morton's going to knock on the door, and Kershaw's not in the pool.
Ding, ding, ding. Nails it with Charlie Morton. Close call. Uses both strikes, but still is going to be moving on to the next round. Great. To some fast money. Great work, Dean.
Yeah, well, look, it's an hour and 15-minute show, and it's only 8 games. We got to stretch. we got to stretch it out. We got to make it dramatic. We got to build the drama for sure. we know who your pitcher pool is now, right? He'll talk about Morton in a second, but a very important question in chat from Butto Jenkins. TJ, who is your feel it in your plums play of the night? You're feeling it in your hip right now. Are you feeling anything in your plums as far as pitchers?
In terms of pitchers, the ones I'm probably feeling in my plums the most, I think, would be Mackenzie Gore.
All right. Yeah. But they're asking about why the Cubs have a 6 total. Yeah, because of the wind. And it is worth noting, by the way, I just want to give a refresh as far as Ross weather. I'm not sure if he's changed this or not, but yeah, so the wind's 10 miles per hour early, but it's going to be picking up as the game goes. So 15 miles per hour, 15 plus by the end of the game is what we're anticipating. So even if your guys haven't homered just yet, maybe you'll get one or two off of the relief pitcher. If this game gets fully out of hand, we're looking at like a 10-2 kind of game in like the 8th inning. Maybe we can get like a shortstop out there throwing a couple of homers just for fun as well. But I feel like we haven't had one of these in a while. I'm excited for the regularly win games. Sometimes they'll let you down, but it's a great spot to homer hunt. But also, it's not sneaking up on anybody. The projections are right there as well. Several people are asking about Clevenger. I mean, come on. We're not. Well, I say several people. Eric's asking about Clevenger right now.
Hard pass.
Yeah. I mean, how many lineups do you have to make to your roster, Mike Clevenger? What year would it have to be? Like 19? No, not 19. He'd be a child. 2019, maybe? When was Clevenger last legit?
I have rostered Clevenger this year successfully, but tonight's not the night.
Congratulations. That's a nice humble brag. I don't know if I have. Even the first part, I'm not sure if I rostered Clevenger all season long. Let's see. They're asking who I've mushed. Who have I mushed so far in this show? Have you keeping track? Is there a mush counter?
Gore.
I did mush Mackenzie Gore. Yeah, that's one of them for sure. It's probably someone. Oh, I also mushed the Royals. If you're listening, I was poo-pooing the Royals as a whole collectively. Talk about Morton. Morton has 23 walks in his last 5 games. Is that right? Is that true? That seems like a lot.
I do not know.
Is that can't be true, can it? Is that UCF math or is that legit? Oh, he had 7 walks his last time out versus the Mets. That is true. Wow. I know the control's bad at hand. 7, 4, 3, 5, 3 is last. Yeah, that's 11 plus 8 is we're talking. Yeah, that's a lot of walks. That's too many. He's facing the Yankees though, and are we afraid of the Yankees?
I am in no way afraid of the Yankees. I played Bryce Elder on. Oh, there was some Vladdy mushing as well. Devin's right.
Yeah.
But no, I'm in no way. Sorry, I kind of lost my train of thought. I got a sharp pain in the back there, and I.
Oh, Phil. So Kansas City stack. If you want to play the old mush lineup, the Dean mush lineup, stack up the Royals. Have yourself a one-off of Vladdy. Run out to Mackenzie Gore. And I'm sure we'll get a couple more mush plays as the show progresses. Did you find your thought?
Yes, I played Bryce Elder last night on Stevie's recommendation. That went pretty well. And I'm going to be running it back with Morton because I'm in no way, shape, or form afraid of the Yankees.
Derek Jeter's not walking through that door?
No. Nor is that's how out of it I am today. Like I'm not neither's Babe Ruth.
Sure. Jorge Posada. We can keep doing this for the rest of the show. Just name. It's LeMahieu leading off today. It's also not Rizzo. I thought there was a chance Rizzo was going to come back as far as that concussion deal, but apparently that's not the case. I thought he had to pass a test, but I guess he didn't, or they did a terrible job handling that all together. It's a whole other conversation. LeMahieu, Torres, Judge, Stanton, IKF, McKinney, Bader, Volpe, and Higashioka. Somebody in chat said that there was some BVP. I know you get excited about that for Stanton. What is the Stanton BVP versus Morton? They faced each other a lot when Stanton was a Marlin. Let's see, 36 plate appearances, 32 official at bats, 10 hits, 6 singles, 2 doubles, 2 homers, 4 walks, 14 strikeouts, which is kind of standard for Stanton. That seems like I don't know. Is that BVP? I guess, sort of, maybe. You don't care about this. I assume you don't care about this.
No, I'm not definitely interested in the BVP today. The only Yankee I have in my pool is Aaron Judge.
Yeah. As a one-off, you like Judge better than Ohtani?
Yes, I think so, but I don't mind Ohtani as a one-off either.
I can't tell you. I haven't played Ohtani like in at least 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks or so. Just
It's been
all
going
the
well for
pieces.
you then.
Yeah, I mean, also teams have just stopped pitching to him. We've seen more. I think even Toronto, several teams are like one out, man on second. They're just walking him, and like, why wouldn't you? It's just good baseball. It's boring, right? It's not fun for the viewer, and it's not fun if you roster Ohtani, but he's not getting protected in that lineup. There's nobody behind him. We got Brandon Drury behind him today. Come on, like seriously, why would you pitch to the guy?
Yeah, it's true. 16
so-
likes away from our next Spidey Bomb. Keep hitting that like button. 350 people watching right now. We should be able to easily get to 150 likes before the Crunch Time crew gets here in a half hour. So keep hitting that like button. The home run picks went pretty well this morning. I went for my bets. I went Christian Walker, Ryan McMahon, Brian Reynolds, Pete Alonso, and mixed in a Maeda 6+ strikeouts in there, and he got 6 on the nose before he got pulled in, after 4. So pretty good start to the day. Let's keep it going into this evening and hit that like button so I can give away some Spidey Bombs.
Yeah, but you're right. Shout out to Stevie yesterday for the Elder call. My pitcher call, my main call was Kikuchi. He was good as well, but unfortunately the Braves let me down, which never happens, right? They had a couple homers, but otherwise, the slate yesterday altogether was kind of wonky. It felt like there was not a lot of scoring when you thought it would be a lot of scoring. At least I thought it would be a lot of scoring. I'm guessing it was low scores that took stuff down. Got a homer out of Wallner, but otherwise Minnesota was pretty punchless as well. But that's why we move on. I thought it was weird. I hated the pitching yesterday. I kind of nailed the pitching and still lost. Wasn't a good day for your boy, but we're back 2-0. Did you play the early slate outside of the homers or just homers?
Yeah, I played the early slate as well. I did 100 lineups in the mini max, and right now I am breaking even.
There you go. And you had fun too, right? So you had fun and it didn't cost you anything?
Yeah,
Was
exactly.
It fun?
Exactly. Had a pretty decent sweat going for a while until Tampa scored a bunch of runs and that Coors game went crazy. I had a lot of exposure to Minnesota and Detroit. And so that was going really well. But as soon as Coors exploded here, that kind of brought me down from doubling up and competing for first down to just kind of breaking even. Aaron in chat's asking what happened as I'm complaining because he just tuned in. I don't know. Nothing. Apparently just being 30 happened because last night my back was hurting me a little bit right in the SI joint area, right where the hip connects to the back on the right side on lower. And started hurting last night, woke up this morning, and it's just so much worse. And grinding through this one, took some muscle relaxants and didn't help with the back pain. It just made me nauseous. So we're grinding, but that's not going to stop me from playing. And so if I'm playing this late anyways, might as well talk about it.
Coors had a fire emoji earlier today. So 8-7 currently in the top of the 8th. Couple homers and a walker. I think he banged one out last night as well. McMahon homer, Jones homer, and all the guys you expect to homer did hit a home run. By the way, I'm currently making a Gore, Kansas City Royals, Vladdy, Ohtani, and Drury. So 5 Royals, Vladdy, Drury. There is your Dean Wish lineup for the day. Let's see how that turns out for the people. I don't know who the second pitcher is. Did I poo-poo another pitcher? I'm not really certain, but whichever one fits, I suppose, we'll kind of make it work. Did we miss anybody in chat? Anything y'all want us to talk about? By all means, it's an interactive show. We want y'all to join the conversation as well. Half hour, you get Crunch Time. Crunch Time is Chief Meteorologist Kevin Roth. You get DerekCarty of the Bat and the Blitz, and Carty is going to be really pumping up. I suppose, Blake Snell per the Bat. The Bat really, really loves him today. SquirrelPatrol, who's just incredible at DFS at a variety of sports. They'll be taking you guys straight up the lock. Fire off your questions. Join the Discord channel, RotoGrinders.com/Discord. Some days we run contests. We're not doing that today, but like usually once a week or so. But anytime throughout the day, you can just sort of jump in there and talk some baseball, talk a little baseball, even, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I dropped something I like in Prize Picks like 5 o'clock in the morning. I happen to be up, TJ. And I'm like, hey, I just like this. I just going to dropped it in there in the Discord channel. Hopefully it's a winner. It's actually Mackenzie Gore's 6 strikeouts on Prize Picks. I like the under. I think worst case scenario you're pushing, but hopefully he gets under on that. That's one of my leans today on the old Prize Picks. I wonder if Will was on that and not get a chance to catch his show. But yeah, RotoGrinders.com/Discord. The live stream chat channel, that's where you want to ask the questions for Roth to see him when he comes on as well. And the MLB channel was hanging up before. The NFL channel is going to be fired up very, very soon. 20-ish days or so to the start of the NFL season. Do partake. Do join the conversation. You don't need a premium RG account, just any standard RotoGrinders account, and you can jump in there. And since we mentioned football, do want to mention the NFL. It's here. We're more ready than ever with our team of experts and suite of tools. Let RotoGrinders handle the legwork so you can work less, win more this NFL season, get access to everything we have to offer at a special discount available only to those without an RG subscription. You can get a full season subscription for $50 off, limited time price, $375. The sale will end opening night of the season, so get it while you can. TJ, you excited about your Saints? That's your team, right?
Yeah, Saints are my squad. I can't wait for them to be competing in their terrible division this year. Actually got a chance at winning it. And I got a lot of Saints exposure in best ball this year. Alvin Kamara is my highest exposed player. I got a lot of Michael Thomas, a lot of Taysom Hill, a lot of Jamal Williams, a lot of Chris Olave. So I'm excited for this one. Dean, you invited me into a little best ball draft, 10 guys, and my team is looking saucy. We're, I think, 12 rounds in, and I have selected 8 receivers, but I am very excited about this team.
Yeah, I think you got Chase at the 4 spot, and I'm like, oh man, who are these dopes? They're like, how do you let Chase fall to the 4 spot? And then you got your team's good. I hate to say it, but I hate to suck up and agree. But I was looking at your roster. I'm like, yeah, this is pretty spectacular.
We got lots of time, so I'll go through it. I got Chase in the 1st, Brown in the 2nd, Chris Olave in the 3rd, Jonathan Taylor in the 4th, Justin Fields in the 5th, Mike Thomas in the 6th, Lockett in the 7th, Gabe Davis in the 8th, DeAndre Swift 9, David Montgomery 10, Michael Thomas 11, Kadarius Toney 12. And this is best ball, so I don't have to worry about who to start each week. I don't have to worry about Toney or Thomas potentially missing some games. I just need them there for their big games every now and then because I think we start 3 receivers and 2 flex in this. And so I'm excited about this one.
Yeah, you're looking pretty good. I'm going to close strong. The one pick I didn't like that you said, I think you did great. Mike Thomas in the 6th, you said? That seems too early for me.
11th.
Oh, I still don't like Mike Thomas.
Neither does Rob. Rob was against me on this one too. But look, Mike Thomas is going to have over 1,000 yards this year.
Oh, come on! And on Madden, where is this happening? Okay, I mean, it's funny. I not intentionally, but I have very few Saints. Just kind of the way it's worked out for me. The running backs I think is going to be kind of cluttered as well too, with Jamal coming over, siphoning those touchdowns. If it's not Jamal,
I think Kamara is like the best ADP pick in fantasy football right now.
Wow, that's a hot
His
take.
ADP is like 80. He's going to miss 3 games.
Okay, but he's going to lose touchdowns to Jamal Williams, and if it's not Jamal Williams, it's going to be Taysom Hill coming in.
That has been the case every year for his entire career, and he's still been he's been a first-round pick every single season, and now because he's suspended 3 games, he's 80. It's obscene.
Kendra Miller's there?
I don't care if Kendra Miller's there. What's Kendra Miller going to do?
He's wearing a uniform?
Every player, every single team has other people wearing uniforms. You can make this case for every single team in the league.
Look, it's an interesting take, and there is some upside theoretically, but I prefer other players around. I'll take James Cook at that spot. How about that? Give me James Cook over Alvin Kamara for Buffalo. But we shall move on and talk about some baseball. Will's in chat says I'm a different Will, not Chief, but Will says I'm the 100th like. Are we at 100 likes? Does that mean that we got to wake up Spidey?
It's time for Spidey Bomb number 2 today, and I'm going to the Seattle game. Seattle went pretty well for me yesterday, except for this guy, but he's going to be hitting a home run today. It is Cal Raleigh. batting 5th today for Seattle, plus 340 on Fanduel, and he is Spidey Bomb number 2.
Yeah, I like Raleigh a good bit as well. Just want to. I gave a refresh the weather. Nothing's changed. I wanted to see if anything changed otherwise. Let's talk about stacks. Let's talk about our favorite stacks on the board. I think it's 5 or 6 teams. I think the Wrigley game is certainly going to be interesting. Atlanta's playing baseball, so they're always in the conversation. You got the Dodgers out there on the West Coast. Number one consensus rankings. Myself, Tasteful Tides, Tim, Head Chopper, SquirrelPatrol, all of us. Well, 3 out of 4 of us. Nope. 2 out of 4 of us have the Cubbies number 1. Then Atlanta's number 2. Texas number 3. We saw Big Corey Seager night last night. Then the White Sox, Dodgers, some Seattle love, a little bit of Boston love, a little bit of Yankee love. So we got the Cubbies, Atlanta, Texas, Chicago White Sox, Dodgers. How do you feel about that board? Is anything too high, anything too low? Is that kind of where you'd be at as well? Is there a team that wasn't even mentioned by anybody that you'd throw on the board in your top 5? What do you think of that, the rankings that we have consensus-wise?
So I have a very clear top 5 today, and then it kind of drops off for me. The Dodgers are not in it. I am going to get to some Dodgers today, but there's just a lot of other teams I like better. And so my top 5 is Cubs 1, Braves 2, Mariners 3, White Sox 4, and Texas 5. I would rather get to more Texas than Seattle and the White Sox. From a raw points perspective, Texas is number 3 for me. But there's just so many more cheap bats on the White Sox and Seattle. And so I'm getting to a lot more of them in my lineups where I'm playing Gaussman and Snow.
Eric in chat says, I love Baltimore. And I think you're supposed to have, if you're making a bunch of lineups, supposed to have a couple Baltimore lineups. If nothing else, just waiting for the implosion that Blake Snell will give you on occasion. Again, if he's going to want 4 or 5 guys, go ahead.
I have Snell in 47 lineups, and then I have full Baltimore stacks and 9 lineups.
Yeah, I like that strategy. I like that thought process. You're hoping for, an extreme outcome. Obviously, if you're rostering for Snell, if you're rostering Baltimore. Let's see. What else is the chat talking about? Cubs and Braves. Yeah, that's the chalk, right? Cubs and Braves. I would imagine it's the Braves are they're unstoppable. Last night, even when they weren't great, they still had a couple homers. It looked like it was going to be better out the gate, right? They hit about 3 homer in the first inning, I believe, from Ozuna off of Severino. Severino is just a disaster this year.
The Cubs actually aren't that chalky, which is just crazy to me.
Is that going to change? I feel like that's going to change, right?
Like they're not low owned by any means, but like there's Tauchman's 15%, Horner's 12, Happ is 12, which isn't that high though either. But like what makes no sense to me is like Bellinger at 7.5, Swanson at 7.5. Like to me, Bellinger's the best bat on the entire slate.
Well, it's a salary thing, but I love the thought process of you got to get over on Bellinger. Like absolutely, without question. But he's a salary reason, right? And I think Morel is another one of those guys that he's kind of buried in the lineup. He's kind of expensive, but Morel can hit 2 homers, and Bellinger can hit 2 homers.
Bellinger's my highest owned player today, and he is my my highest owned bat, and he's my 3rd highest owned player behind Gore and Gray.
Yeah, I love that. Clevenger, by the way, too many fly balls, right? And it's probably not good to. Well, I'm going to pull up the specific numbers here. It's weird, right? I never really know what to cite and I don't know where these numbers are pulled from, right? Because Fangraphs is a totally different number as far as fly ball percent than Plate IQ does. It's like the same sort of like point it's making. It's just the percentages are different. But according to Fangraphs, Mike Clevenger has the biggest fly ball rate on the slate. And that's probably true according to Plate IQ as well. It's just the number is higher on Fangraphs, 51.5%. That's way too many. He's been super, super lucky when it comes to homer and fly ball, just 8.3% this year. He's got a 3.55 ERA, but a 5.13 Sierra because, again, very lucky. BABIP is 274. His left on base is 80%. The regression monster tends to show up in Wrigley win games. This could be a really, really rough outing for Clevenger.
What do you like better here? Olsen and Swanson, or Seager and Luis Robert?
Ooh.
Those are 2 great combos. Hey, that's what I'm trying to decide between in my single entry right now.
So is Olsen like a one-off?
No, it's kind of like a It's like a Cubs Texas Braves mashup.
3-3-2, something like that.
If I went the Robert side, it would be 3-4-3-2-2-1. But if I went the other one, it would be 5-2-1.
Oof.
No, the other way would be 5-3. No, 5-2-1. 5-2-1.
It's 5 Cubs.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is a single entry, I assume.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, man. That's tough. I like them both.
I'm gonna leave the Olsen one, I think.
They're both really, really strong. Let's see. Derek's got a 2v2 as well. Gore and Nola versus Gray and Paxton. Huh. I think all 4 of those guys are in your pool. You probably have different combinations of both those. Yeah, Gore, Nola versus Gray, Paxton. What's your preference on those two?
Gray, Nola versus who in Paxton, sorry?
Gore, Nola. It's Gore and Nola versus Gray and Paxton.
I would probably go Gore, Nola.
Let's see. How much wind does Tim Anderson need in a home run, according to Michael? Well, that's another one, right? Tim Anderson, it could be 100 miles per hour wind. And if he doesn't hit the ball in the air, it doesn't matter. And last I checked, he's leading the league in ground ball rates. He just does not hit the ball in the air, which is, kind of a problem. Let me check that now on the fly. Now I'm sort of curious. I assume it's still
in that last one. If you can do Gray and Morton, if you have the 300 to get up to Morton from Paxton, I like that a little better.
Tim Henderson has the highest ground ball rate in baseball, not just the highest ground ball rate in baseball, but the highest ground ball rate in baseball by 6.5 percentage points. His ground ball rate is almost 63%. His fly ball rate is 16%. That's his homer to fly ball, by the way. Want to guess what his homer to fly ball rate is this season? It's not good, obviously. I believe he is
1.7%.
What'd you say now? Say it again.
1.7%.
2.2. Yeah. And that's the tricky thing, right? With him and include Benintendi as well. Like, are those guys going to benefit from the wind? I mean, we've seen it before. Like Anderson's had 20 homer seasons. Even Benintendi, I think, had a 20 homer season once upon a time. Maybe with Boston, possibly with Kansas City. I don't know what to do with those guys because, are they going to benefit from the wind is sort of my question. They're cheap too. And they're, cheap 5 ABs if things are going well. They're usable. What's our officials? We talked about the Cubs. What about the White Sox, the other side, the South side?
I'm getting to a lot of White Sox today. They are my 4th highest owned stack behind the Cubs, the Braves, and the Mariners. I would like to get a little bit more Texas than I am then, but the White Sox are just so much cheaper. They're a team that allows you to you can do a full White Sox stack in this crazy win game and play with Luis Robert, and you can double pay up for Snell and Gaussman together. So I really like the White Sox today just because of how stupidly cheap they are. Wrigley with this much wind is basically just Coors. And so I love the White Sox in this spot today.
Yeah, I mean, Coors is a bigger field, so you can dump the ball out there if you kind of miss hit it, that kind of thing, and triples are easier, but their point is still being made. So a conversation they have in the Discord channel is about game stacks. I'm sure you've seen this. If game stacks are real, if they're a thing in baseball, and sometimes they can happen organically due to the environment, temperature, yada yada, ballpark, 100 degrees outside. But yeah, they're throwing it out here in chat. Mr. Richard saying, "What about the game stack of the Chicago teams?" I don't think that's going to be sneaky, but sure, if you want to stack up the Wrigley win game and just hope for 4 or 5 homers, I have no issues with that. Just it's going to be pretty common though, unless I'm wrong.
Fire it up though. I think there's no problem with that. Just find a way to get a little different in pitcher.
Yeah, I have no issue with it either. Let's see. King of Smack says Assad should do well if they let him hit out there. The White Sox, their cheeks. The White Sox lineup's not great. It's not a very good lineup. Let's see. Seager. What's our official take as far as Seager and just Texas in general? Seager facing a lefty from the start and Reed Detmers.
a lefty who struggles against other lefties. I really like Corey Seager today. He's one of my favorite bats on the slate. He's my top shortstop. I'm having a really tough time deciding between Seager and Swanson in my main lineup today. That's the biggest decision point for me because obviously Swanson comes with some salary savings and he's in that win game. But I really like Seager today too.
Yeah, whenever you can get the Seager or Semien as well, sure. Texas is always a great pivot away from, and I don't think they're going to be terribly popular, especially Seager. People hate playing left on left. Seager's got to be what, single digit ownership, I'm guessing. Typing it in now. Oh no, am I wrong? It's really popping.
Yeah,
That's kind of surprising.
It's more than that, but I bet you like the left on left thing will drop it a little bit.
Is that because of the position? Story's getting a fair bit of ownership against Gore. Anderson's a cheap way to get there. Swanson, if that's playing out the way it's projected now, and this obviously can change, Swanson's 1K less than Seager, even more than 1K, and he's getting half the ownership. I don't understand that. What am I missing there? I know Seager's great, but, I'll take Swanson. Elvis is somebody I have a hard time rostering ever. Trey Turner versus Gauss, I'm not really picking on him. Shortstop's not very deep, right? Tim Anderson's like the punt du jour, I suppose. But again, when has he ever broken a slate? And then there's Bobby Witt, who just is not going to get played and is super talented at like 4% ownership.
30 likes away from our next Spidey Bomb. Keep hitting that like button. We got over 400 people in the room here now. We got a couple of questions in the YouTube chat I want to address. Will M asking who my top 5 favorite pitchers ranked are today. In terms of how much I'm playing them, I got Gore and Gray tied for 1, Gaussman number 3, Snell number 4, and I actually think my number 5 pitcher is going to be Charlie Morton going up against the Yankees. And then another question in there, somebody choosing between Seager and Witt. That's definitely Seager for me. Another person asking top 4 pitchers on DraftKings. So you just take out Morton for me. It's the 2 expensive guys and the 2 cheap guys. Castillo, Snell, or sorry, not Castillo. Gaussman, Snell, Gray, and Gore. Tim Anderson apparently just got scratched, so that's going to be something we're going to have to talk about. And then the last question was somebody was asking for the best outfielder on DraftKings at 2,600 or under. I think you got to go all the way down to if you can't find the extra $100 to get Melendez, I think you go all the way down to Gavin Sheets.
What is the number you said? 2,600?
Yeah. I have Canzoni in my pool too. Oscar Colas is in the pool, but I think Gavin Sheets is definitely the best option.
Yeah, I always use the sliders if I need that much, or that's one way to look at it on the RotoGrinders starting lineups page. What are our options here? Well, it's got to be outfield, right? You said outfield.
Yes, I have not seen the Tim Anderson thing. Where was that?
I don't see it either, which is I want to get confirmation. Big Hurt usually pretty reliable. Probably saw it somewhere. Give us your source there, Big Hurt. I assume Big Hurt is a White Sox fan, so he's following some White Sox beat writers or something like that.
Never mind. That was yesterday. Yeah, no, Tim Anderson.
Oh, Big Hurt, fake news. Unbelievable. All right. Yeah, well, maybe he'll get scratched again, and he's like one of the precogs. He sees the future. He'll get scratched in an hour or so. We'll see. But as far as we know, Tim Anderson is still playing baseball this evening. And confirm that, Big Hurt. You got to be a Frank Thomas fan, right? Is that what's going on there? Otherwise, I don't know what the origin of that name may or may not be. Let's see. You already answered the 2.6K catcher, outfielder. Yes. Sheets.
Yeah, I think that answer is Gavin Sheets, and my next favorite would be Ken Boney.
Dodger lineup came out, by the way. Betts, Freeman, Smith, JD Martinez. I saw somebody in chat mention apparently it's JD Martinez bobblehead night, and he's facing a soft tossing lefty in Wade Miley. Rosario, Muncy, Hernandez, Taylor, and Rojas. Usual rules apply with the Dodgers when they start off versus a lefty. Understands some of their fringe players probably get the boot at some point, right? You got Outman, you have Hayward, you have Peralta, all on the bench. There are 3 lefties lurking in that bench. Guys that are vulnerable: Rojas, Hernandez sometimes, Taylor sometimes, and Rosario. Those are the most vulnerable guys. Not saying you can't play them, just understand what you are getting yourself into. Big Hurt wants to know your favorite stack on FanDuel, single entry. So favorite stack and favorite pitcher on FanDuel. The ownership, I think, should dictate this because it's pretty close as far as like skill up top. Who is your favorite pitcher, single entry style? I got Kikuchi yesterday at like 2% because we know how in single entry, people just plug in the best projected pitcher and move on. All that, the ownership gets pushed up at the top. That wasn't a victory lap, by the way. The team, I don't think it got there because it was surrounded by a bunch of bums. But yeah, your favorite single entry pitcher tonight on FanDuel is who?
Just pulling up the FanDuel pricing right now in front of me. So I think it would probably be. I think it would be Gaussman. He's getting half the ownership of half the projected ownership of Snell. If not Gaussman, and then it would be Mackenzie Gore at 8,200, only projecting for 3% ownership on him right now. And I don't hate the idea of taking shots on Charlie Morton there today as well at sub 10% ownership.
I know I've already poo-pooed Gore, but I don't like his chances of getting a quality start today. I don't like his chances of going 6 innings. I would just say that. I think John Gray at a similar price point has got a better chance of going 6 innings. But
at a certain
you're right.
point, you gotta take everything you're looking at and just throw it out in the trash and see. Squirrel has Mackenzie Gore tag, and that is really all you need to know. The best DFS player in the entire world says he's a good play today, and that's the only pitcher he has tagged. Good enough for me.
Who might have questioned Squirrel? He'll be on in 5 minutes or so, give or take. You also get DerekCarty, CEO of the Bat and the Blitz. You have Roth as well coming on, taking y'all straight up to lock. Fire up your questions for Roth in the RotoGrinders Discord channel, rotogrinders.com/live stream chat. Let's see. We currently have Snell getting 25%. So I was going to say this, not Snell is the first answer. Like, do not, in a single entry contest, I would not play Snell if the ownership is anywhere near, if he's separating himself that much more than, like you said, he's twice the ownership of Gaussman, Gray 11%, Nola 10, Castillo. If you want it to be Nola, fine. You want it to be Castillo, fine. If you want Gore, fine. But I don't think it should be Snell. In before Snell strikes out 14 in 5 innings somehow. Okay. By the way, you gave somebody your top 5 pitchers, and then somebody else asked your top 4 pitchers. Now, are they going to be the same 4?
Yeah, you just cut Charlie Morton from it.
Okay. Did you give your favorite stack?
Like on FanDuel, I think I would probably only play Snell in cash and nowhere else. On a one pitcher site at that type of ownership, there's enough different options that I would just probably fully hit the X button in tournaments. On DraftKings, it's a little bit different. We're playing 2, and there's just more ways for me to get a little bit different. I feel like on FanDuel, I would just fully hit that X button on Snell.
Got every lineup with the exception of Milwaukee and Baltimore. If you're waiting for lineups, those are lineups that are going to come out a little bit later. Actually, Baltimore should be coming out soon. Is that 8:40 in the East Coast? Yeah, 2 hours. Come on, let's go. And then the Dodgers are basically at their own time, 10 o'clock, 10:10 East Coast time. If you want to get all tactical, that's when first pitch goes down there. Kershaw versus Wade Miley. Let's see. Roof will be closed today in Globe Life Field. That is the field in Texas. Okay, who's the player, the team, whatever it may be, that you're afraid you just don't have enough of, whatever reason, that just doesn't fit your builds? Who's that guy? Who's that team that you just might ruin your night by not having them?
One player, it's Luis Castillo. Obviously, if he ends up being the highest scoring pitcher on the slate today, then I'm probably screwed. I'm not going to win a lot of money. In terms of like a stack, I think I would maybe go with Boston. I'm playing a ton of Mackenzie Gore today. It'd be nice if I was getting a little more Boston. I have 6% Boston in 150 line in 150 lineups right now in terms of full stacks. I'd like a little bit more than that. But having said that, I would still probably go with them.
DGen Stoner in chat. Did I miss the Power Man and Iron Fist? Are those gimmicks I'm not aware of? What is that? Is that a comic book that I should be aware of, TJ? What is
Power Man and Iron Fist are two comic book characters. You know, we usually don't go for them for our home run picks, but they're totally cool people in their own right. You do you never watch Luke Cage on Netflix?
the name sounds familiar? Is that from a different series? I know that name. I've heard it
Luke
before.
Cage is Power Man. So
okay, did they make a movie with Luke Cage?
no, he had a Netflix series.
Okay. For some
on
reason, I
Disney.
thought that was the Punisher. I guess that's the Punisher is a different guy.
Part of the same little universe. That was like
Okay.
the same people doing it. Yeah, it was like Daredevil, Luke Cage, Punisher, Jessica Jones, Iron Fist, and
Jessica Jones. Yeah, I give partial credit. I think is that worth watching? Jessica Jones.
First season is really, really good. Second season falls off in a big way. Luke Cage, same thing. First season's really, really good. Second season falls off in a big way. Daredevil is fantastic. All 3 seasons. The Punisher is fantastic. Iron Fist is terrible. Defenders is pretty bad too.
So Mabs wants to know mini stack for the Cubs. Who would you, with Cubbies considering ownership, who your favorite mini stacks, mini Cubs? Jesus. You're going to roster 3 Cubs tonight. You're not making a full stack. I think Bellinger is one of those 3, right? We kind of talked about that before. Christopher Morel, maybe. I think he's one of them. But feel free to disagree. Who would be the
Bellinger and
third one?
Swanson as the for sure top 2 for me, and then my third would be Tauchman or Happ.
Okay. Let's see. There's a few other questions. Yeah, okay. So Chase wants to know Tauchman and Tim Anderson or Sheets and Swanson. Single entry on DK. Tauchman, Tim Anderson, or Sheets and Swanson. They're focusing obviously on Wrigley.
Yeah, run that one for me. Tauchman and Tim Anderson or Sheets and Swanson. That's Sheets and Swanson for sure.
Yeah. I know. Zai Wyatt said you nailed it on those reviews, so we're gonna take your word on it. You're all over it as far as well. I mean, you should be because this is what you do. This is another gig you have. You're agents of fandom, and I feel like you guys probably, and I don't know, I feel like you're probably generally pretty positive. You try to look at the best things on some of those shows that may not be spectacular. And
we review them even if we don't like them. So like Secret Invasion was one on Disney Plus we committed to, and it just ended up being pretty trash. And so, or not trash, but just like not very good in comparison to the others. And so
great
that
cast
one
too.
We still had to like went all out honesty with the reviews, and so you got to do what you got to do sometimes. Somebody else asked if I would watch Invincible on Prime. Invincible is fantastic, absolutely amazing show. One of the best comic books of all time, and one of the best comic book shows there is out there as well. And I'm actually friends with one of the voice actors in it as well. The guy who's the voice actor for the Immortal. So I love that show. Can't wait for season 2.
I watched one episode. I liked it. I never revisited it for whatever reason, but I'll go back. I thought
give it a binge. Give it a binge before season 2. I think season 2 is November.
Yeah. Let's see. Trevor Story, Deep Double Dong Night. I mean, you got to get 1 to get to 2. That's pretty ambitious. How do you feel about Trevor Story tonight versus Mackenzie Gore?
Not getting to a ton of Story. He falls behind like Justin Turner and Adam Duvall, as well as Rafael Devers for me in like a potential Boston mini stack, but I don't mind Story in a full stack.
Roth is in the bullpen right now, and I guess he's going to chime in just a second, but he's just typing in chat, and he says Invincible is dope as hell. So there you go. You have a fan.
I mostly just wanted to hear you say dope as hell. I enjoyed that. No, that shit was great, man.
There you go. Well, we have DerekCarty, we have SquirrelPatrol. Squirrel, who we've already put it on you. You've touted, what was the guy? Mackenzie Gore, right? Or is it Mackenzie Gore he touted he likes, right? It's like Gore's one of his guys?
Yep. All
right. So I'm against Gore tonight, Squirrel. And I don't feel comfortable knowing that because you win a lot of contests. And I know he's your guy, too, in Washington. Actually, I can ask you because I assume you follow the team. 6-man rotation now. They've kind of pushed back his innings. This is the most innings he's ever pitched in his life. I believe 30 more than he's ever pitched. Theoretically, he's like the number 1 stud going forward. He's their top pitcher when they're actually good. So why would they burn him much more? Now, yes, 6-man rotation, he's starting less. So maybe he loses a couple starts along the way. But my thought is they're just not going to push him anymore. And maybe we get 5 innings and that's that. But the counter, of course, is he's only 6K and he's still a pretty good pitcher.
Yeah, it's more about the price really than the talent. But he has been pitching innings. And I think the idea of going to the 6-man rotation is maybe not to strain him so that he can just pitch regular games. I don't think he's necessarily going to go 9, but I don't think they're going to necessarily pull him at 5. And yeah, he's 6K. So
okay, yeah, good. I was curious since we had you there. I know that's your hometown team, and gonna get Carty's thoughts on the bat is like getting broken today by Blake Snell, Carty, and this is we had this discussion, and it's typically the projections are pretty close. They're similar, a point here, a point there, and the projection for Snell. We're gonna step aside and get out of here, but I want to hear you. I'm curious to hear why Snell is separating himself so much from a group of pitchers that are kind of sort of basically all the same as far as skill wise, unless you think of Snell's 15% walk rate. I'm really curious because I think it's a good discussion to have. I'm curious what you have to say about it. But TJ, before we step aside and get out of here, anything for the boys here? Anything for Roth? Anything for Squirrel? For Carty?
5 likes away from the next Spidey Bomb, so I know we can get 5 more people hammering the like button right now. Actually, Eric Johnson in chat just mentioned him, and this was my plan for Spidey Bomb number 3 all along. So it's Lane Thomas plus 540 over on FanDuel Spidey Bomb number 3.
All righty. Myself and TJ, we're going to step aside. What's up, TJ?
560, not 540. Sorry.
TJ, feel better. Thanks for jumping on. Thanks for powering through. Hopefully, you feel better by tomorrow. I know you weren't at your tip-top shape. You played with the rib today? No, not a rib. What'd you have? Ankle? A hip. You had a hip. I forgot your body parts.
Back.
TJ's got a hip, but he's a gamer. Myself and TJ are going to step aside for the FanDuel sponsor crunch time. You got Roth, you have Carty, and you have SquirrelPatrol. Roth, take it away.
Let's do it. Welcome to it, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, good show as always, by the way, from Dino and the crew. This is it. This is the moment you've been waiting for. This is crunch time. It is sponsored by FanDuel. We bring on 2 of the sharpest minds in the biz. One, Mr. DerekCarty. He is the inventor, creator, and CEO of the Bat and the Bat X Enterprises. Cash game pro, some would say, but also dabbles in some tournaments. DerekCarty, how are you, sir?
I'm doing quite well. Okay. Yeah, doing good. This is, I guess, a slate where, I don't know. I feel like everyone's going to have Blake Snell. He's going to be super chalk. I don't know. Does everyone really consider these like good pitchers like all the same today? That's news to me. I'm kind of curious how Squirrel feels about this.
Squirrel, welcome, by the way.
thank you. Yeah, good to be here.
Where do we stand on the Blake Snell drama? Let's just dive right into that.
Yeah, I was actually literally about to say I view all these guys about the same today. There's a collection of good pitchers at the top. Like Blake Snell, Gausman, Clayton Kershaw, Luis Castillo, like even Aaron Nola like sneaks in there a little bit. They're all good, and like I do have Snell projected as the highest of them. And I actually like on FanDuel, I think I have Blake Snell as my highest owned pitcher, but I'm also like under projected ownership on him, if that makes sense. I have a strong like tournament lean on this slate, which is that the thing to do is pay down a pitcher. There's so many good high end pitchers, and I think like particularly on DraftKings, but even on FanDuel, I think going to like John Gray and Mackenzie Gore are guys who at their best can exceed or at least match the high end pitchers. And everyone's going for like the cheaper stacks, so just go for the more expensive stacks.
Okay, well let's hold that thought because I absolutely freaking love it. But I do want to start with the cash talk, and then I want to get to how you're pivoting because I almost disagree with your take already, which I love, and Carty was agreeing with it, so I feel like this is going to be great. But first, let's go over these cash plays, Carty. Snell is in your lineup, seemingly, and then on FanDuel you only need 1. Is that your dude?
Yeah, the Bat thinks Snell is kind of, in a tier of his own tonight. We do have plenty of talented pitchers on this slate. We have Gausman, we have Castillo, we have Kershaw, we have Nola. But they're all kind of, they all have issues. So like Nola's facing Toronto in Toronto. Gausman is facing Philadelphia in Toronto. Castillo's facing a weak offense in Kansas City. But it's pretty good hitting weather there.
It is. Yeah.
Kershaw is facing Milwaukee, which is probably the best matchup of these four, but he's not fully stretched out yet. And so that kind of leaves Snell. Like his matchup isn't amazing against Baltimore, but it's good. It's some of the better pitching weather of the night. One of the highest air densities and some wind blowing in, double-digit winds, I think, last I saw, or close to it. And so the bat just really thinks Snell's the guy. His skill set translates really well to DFS because even though he walks a bunch of guys, he also has an extremely high strikeout rate, which matters. He's facing a weak pitcher in Dean Kramer, so he stands a really good chance of picking up a win. There's just a lot of reasons that the bat likes Snell. And so I think you play Snell in cash. I don't think the field is going to treat these guys as all the same. Like, I think the field is going to be on Snell more than all these other ones. So in tournaments, I do like what Squirrel was about to say. So I'll leave some of that to him. But on DK and cash, where you need another guy to play with him, I think you probably just play Gaussman. He kind of projects in like tier 2 by himself. It's not like a huge gap between him and the other guys, but it's enough where he's not that much more expensive. So I think you probably just play Gaussman. And then there are these cheap guys that project really well for their salary and not that much further in a raw sense from guys like Castillo, Kershaw, Nola. And they're a lot cheaper. So John Gray and Mackenzie Gore are the two really that stick out to me the most. So yeah, that's kind of pitching for me.
Jerry Berg in the chat says, how about Paxson in FanDuel Cash?
No.
Okay, that was easy enough. Yeah.
No, Snell's only 500, 600 more. Like just no.
Yeah.
I mean, he's fine, I guess. But he's not as talented as Gaussman or Castillo or Nola or Snell. He's not bad. He's in a decent matchup. But even though Washington is a bad offense, they're also a very low strikeout offense. So it's just not quite there for me. I'd much rather just play Snell or pay a little bit extra for Castillo if you really don't want to do Snell for whatever reason.
Okay.
Or less
for things I've always been one of the things I've always been impressed with is how you kind of stack these factors about, the ballpark and the weather and the and so basically all of those little factors are kind of tilting you towards Snell. Is that the overall?
That's kind of what it is. Yeah. There's not like one overwhelming factor, but you stack a bunch of them together and, it creates a little bit of separation.
Yeah. Okay. That makes perfect sense. Let's talk about how we are handling this.
Sorry. One other thing, really, really good umpire for Snell. So that's one of the other things too. Whereas Gaussman has a really bad one and Nola has a really bad one. So that's another one of those little factors that really stacks up for Snell tonight.
Stacking them up. Okay. Very good. Squirrel, let's talk about tournaments. I'll just let you go and then I'll cut you off and say I disagree.
Sure. So just a note on Blake Snell. I think the Baltimore lineup just came out and has a couple lefties we weren't expecting, which might be good for him. Gunnar Henderson and Cedric Mullins are both in the lineup for Baltimore. So yeah, I do have like Blake Snell as my top pitcher and my highest owned pitcher, but I'm under the field. I'm spreading out, pretty far at pitcher tonight because I think that there's some offenses that are worth paying up for that are going to be lower owned because of the cost. And so then I'm going to be overweight John Gray and Mackenzie Gore primarily, and some Reed Detmers as well. Although I kind of like the Texas offense, so I will be playing a good amount of Reed Detmers, but also playing a good amount of the Texas offense. So yeah, I mean that's basically it in a nutshell. I think there's a bunch of guys that you can pay up for, and I have them all about the same. With Snell, a notch ahead, like maybe a strikeout ahead of the other top guys, but I think it's just a good night to pay down for some pitchers that can maybe match those guys like Detmers, Mackenzie Gore, and John Gray, who are like they're more likely to have a bad game, but they're also like more likely to be very low owned.
Yeah. Okay. I was going to argue with so many similar pitchers in the top tier, it'd be kind of silly to pay down in my mind because ownership doesn't seem like it'll be that congested. But the point is you're getting better bats if you do it. So
yeah,
right.
Exactly. I think Snell is going to be owned. I think he'll probably be like the highest owned pitcher. I don't think he's going to see absurd ownership where it's like, oh, you're going to get like a big ownership edge by like pivoting to Luis Castillo or anything like that, or Gaussman. Like those guys are going to be owned too.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. And if you're getting the bats that you want and other people can't, then that is an advantage in and of itself, of course. With that, I think we should kind of get into some stacks. Before we do, I mentioned this show sponsored by Fanduel. Make sure you sign up for the Fanduel Sportsbook. If you're in a legal sports betting state, you can take advantage of their awesome bonus offer. If you're in Tennessee, Arizona, Colorado, or Illinois, you can bet $5, get $150 in bonus bets. If you're in Washington, West Virginia, Indiana, Iowa, and all other legal sports betting states, you can get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. Terms and conditions do apply. Make sure you're checking that out on our sponsor site, FanDuel. They're always running some great promos over there. Let's dive into the stacks. And Squirrel, I guess I want to know from both, like, this is the expensive stuff that maybe only you can afford, but also this is the chalkier, cheaper stuff that most people are playing.
Sure. So I think the chalkiest stack is going to be the Cubs. They're playing in a wind game in Wrigley. So, that can really affect things. We got both Chicago teams in that game. So I think they're going to be the most popular. I think the stacks that I don't mind playing the Cubs. Like, I do feel like those wind games can go either way.
Yeah.
Where sometimes sometimes it's like 16-12 and then sometimes it's like 5-4. It just depends how the wind is swirling. So actually it's one of the few instances where I don't mind a game stack. Because I think it's going to affect both teams, right? Like you can play the Cubs and the White Sox together, but the teams that I like pivoting to are kind of the usual suspects that are like too expensive that we don't normally get to. Primarily Atlanta, the Dodgers, and Texas. And then I also like going for some of the really more expensive one-offs that you don't usually see, like Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani. They just go like perennially or daily under-owned. Because they're too expensive and people don't want to stack the Angels and the Yankees. Although I don't mind a Yankee stack. Like Charlie Morton has been walking everybody recently. I think over the last 4 weeks is just about as many walks as strikeouts. Like if he keeps walking the Yankees, like he's not going to have anywhere to put Aaron Judge or Gleyber Torres, and somebody's going to hit a bomb with guys on base.
Right. Okay. Very good. Any other, I don't know, chalkier stacks you want to discuss, or no, you feel good?
Yeah, I think that's about it. I think Seattle will be popular. I think the White Sox will be popular. I think the Cubs will be popular. It depends a little bit on which site you're looking at. But yeah, I think the most popular will probably be like Chicago, Seattle, the Cubs. Oh, sorry, Cubs, Seattle, and White Sox. Maybe some Boston as well.
Very good. Okay, Carty, I want to bring you in here. Is there a chalk stack, or is it just kind of like a group up top that's kind of up there?
No, it's the Wrigley stacks, I think. They're underpriced. It's a Wrigley win game. The Cubs in particular, but I think the White Sox too are going to be chalky, and I think Seattle will probably pick up a lot of ownership too. Over on FanDuel, maybe you'll see more Braves ownership just because you can get that salary a little bit easier, but I think that's kind of going to be like your chalk stuff. So I'm kind of the same mind as Squirrel, where like, if you're going to play a cheaper pitcher like a Gore or Gray or someone like that, you can afford a Brave stack tonight, especially on DK, where they're probably not going to be as owned as on FanDuel. Like the Braves are great. The Braves are always great. Play the Braves, play the Padres, play the Dodgers. That's, as weird as it is, those are the teams that are probably going to be less owned tonight. So I like that approach a lot.
Okay, makes a lot of sense. With that, I think we can kind of dive into things position by position. We've got someone in the chat saying, why isn't the producer putting the positions up when they talk about, we haven't gone through the positions? I have faith that our production crew, whoever it is today, is going to handle that. I assume it's Steve. I don't know. Who is it? Steve? Anyways, let's go ahead and dive into catcher and see what happens. Hey, there he is. Yeah, that's Steve. Let's go ahead and dive into it. Carty, you want to lead us off with some catcher talk?
Yeah, so I think the popular catchers are going to be ones on the cheaper side. We have Grandal for 2.5K in that White Sox Cubs game. He's probably your cash guy. I don't have a problem going up to a guy like Mitch Garver for 3.6 with a platoon against Detmers. I don't have a problem with Cal Raleigh for 4.5. I think those will probably be the chalky guys. Those are the guys you're considering in cash. But in tournaments, I love Will Smith in your Dodger stacks or as a one-off. I like Real Muto a lot. as a one-off tonight against Gaussman. And honestly, I don't think a Philly stack is crazy. So I like them quite a bit. I mean, you can definitely one-off. You said we had a Baltimore lineup. I haven't seen it. I assume Adley Rutschman is in there. You can definitely one-off Rutschman against Snell for a little bit of leverage.
Very nice. By the way, TJ, our guy TJ in the chat says, fourth Spidey Bomb coming at 200 likes. Hit the likes, A, because we want Spidey Bombs. B, because we like this show free, and our sponsor FanDuel wants eyeballs, wants likes, wants engagement. So make sure you're hitting that. Trying to keep the show free for you as long as we can. Squirrel, over to you, a catcher.
Yeah, that's pretty much all the guys. I would say I like Mitch Garver probably the best. But like Cal Raleigh, Will Smith, I'm probably a little less high on JT Realmuto. But then like Salvi Perez, maybe you'll get some leverage off of Luis Castillo.
Yeah.
And maybe Gary Sanchez can always hit a home run.
Sure. All right. Excellent. How about first base?
Yeah, first base is a great place to spend up on DraftKings. You've got Shohei Ohtani, first base eligible, and then just all the guys you would think to like spend up for. Matt Olson, Cody Bellinger in that win game, Freddie Freeman with the Dodgers stacks. Justin Turner is first base eligible if you want to play him against the great Mackenzie Gore. If you're looking to save, so I do like Yankee stacks. I think I had them as my favorite sneaky stack on the expert survey. DJ LeMahieu is leading off tonight and first base eligible on FanDuel.
Very good. Carty, we got the Mario noises coming in. Is that something big time? Is that telling you who we're playing at first?
Yes, it is. No, it's all the guys that Squirrel mentioned, although you didn't say Andrew Vaughn, right? I think Andrew Vaughn is the cheap guy that if you're not spending up on a big guy, you can play. I think it's viable in cash. I think you probably would rather get up to like Ohtani or Vlad on DK or on FanDuel rather. But Andrew Vaughn at 2.9 on FanDuel, 3K on DK is in this win game. He's hitting fifth. He's cheap. I like him a lot. I like Ty France a lot also for Seattle. And that's basically first.
Okay. Easy enough. How about second base?
So second base, Mookie Betts is the top option. Probably not going to be overly popular again because Dodgers are going to be tougher to afford if you're playing two aces. So I like Mookie a lot by himself. I like him a lot in those Dodger stacks. The cheap guy though, that I think you play at second because after Mookie Betts, it kind of falls off. You have guys like Nico Horner, who's in the win game, but he's expensive. You have Story, who's fine. You have Glaber, who's fine. You have Semien, who's okay, but he's overpriced. Like, I think you probably just punted in cash. Jose Caballero, 2.1K on DraftKings in Kansas City. Good weather against one of the weaker pitchers on the slate. Even on FanDuel, he's 2.3. You can definitely just punt it on FanDuel too. You can also play Story on FanDuel. I think he's a little more viable at his price. I think Christopher Morel, who's second base eligible on FanDuel in that win game, is viable. Gleyber Torres is always priced down a little on FanDuel. So I think there's more you can do over there. But Caballero, really, if you just want to do that and prioritize other positions, I'm fine with that.
Squirrel, you agree? You're muted, bud.
Yeah,
it's the
I
worst.
think Mookie's the top guy by good margin. But I like Trevor Story's got the platoon advantage. I do like Christopher Morel in the win game. Michael Massey is maybe a guy I think that Carty didn't mention that seems to always have good games and he's always just like he's like 2,300 on FanDuel. Like that's a really good punt option.
Yeah.
Jose Caballero as well. I don't know a ton about Caballero, but he's eligible at almost every position and he actually steals bases. So yeah, it's hitting down on the order, so that leads to people not playing him. So maybe more of a tournament option than a cash game option because he might miss a plate appearance.
Sure. Okay, very good. How about third base, Squirrel?
So third base, Rafael Devers in the lefty-lefty matchup, he might not get quite as much ownership. But then Austin Riley, Justin Turner, Max Muncy also facing a lefty, so won't see a ton of ownership, but it doesn't really matter. You can still hit the ball 500 feet. Christopher Morel for Caballero, also third base eligible. And then Isaiah Falefa. But yeah, IKF. I like the Yankees, so IKF.
Okay, very good. Carty, I feel like you always like your boy IKF. He's your boy, or at least he used to be. I don't know if he
IKF is
still
not my boy.
I thought he was your boy. I thought you played that dude.
No,
what are you
not
doing
that
with the
often.
falafel?
Falafel. I think he's fine. I'm not as big on Yankees as Squirrel is, so he's fine for me. There's other guys I like more in cash, at least. You know, Moncada at 3K hitting cleanup in the win game, I think, is your guy on DraftKings. You have Morel on the other side, but he's more expensive. I don't think you need to spend all the way up for him. Kind of same deal on FanDuel. You can play Morel, but you have cheaper guys too. You have Caballero again. And you have Eugenio Suarez, who's 2.7K. He's in this really good spot in Kansas City. He's boom or bust, but he's got massive power, and I think he's kind of the clear value play there. I think he'll be pretty popular. So in tournaments, you know, spend up for Atlanta guys, spend up for Austin Riley, spend up for Manny Machado. Like, I think that's the way I'd approach it. Max Muncy.
Okay.
Yeah, him too.
Yeah. Very good. How about shortstop?
Corey Seager's our top guy here, but it's lefty-lefty. He's kind of pricey. I don't think you have to get up there. On FanDuel, you do have Mookie Betts, who's shortstop eligible also. I do like him quite a bit. But again, we're kind of going back to the win game as the best value plays. You have Dansby Swanson for 3-2 on FanDuel. He's your cash guy. There's nobody else that's viable. I mean, I guess you have Tim Anderson on the other side, but Swanson's just a lot better. On DraftKings, there's a big price gap, almost 2,000. So there, I think you can have your choice of one of them. Maybe Anderson is maybe my slight preference, but you play one of those two. Otherwise, you know, you have Story again, who I like. You have Bobby Witt, who I think is certainly viable tonight. And then you have a whole lot of stuff that's just like fine, but I don't love. So, you know, that's kind of what I want to do with shortstop.
Okay, very good. Squirrel, I want your shortstop thoughts. But first, our guy TJ in the chat coming through with Spidey Bomb number 4. He dropped it, and it is Cody Bellinger, Spidey Bomb number 4. Lock it in. With that, Squirrel, what are you doing at short?
It's a pretty good position to spend up. Mookie Betts is shortstop eligible on FanDuel, so he's going to be the top projected guy. I do like Trevor Story. He's significantly cheaper. Then you've got, the Cubs guys like Nico Horner and Dansby Swanson. I like Texas a lot. That's like one of the stacks I like spending up for. So like if you're saving by playing like Mackenzie Gore or like John Gray, who's then maybe going to have a little bit of a correlation with the Texas bats. Corey Seager is one of the guys I like spending up for. He's facing a lefty, but he's like hit lefties better this year. And the lefty that he's facing is like worse against lefties. So so somebody worth playing. And then Ezekiel Duran, somebody he's like he's a Texas bat, but he's like eligible everywhere, like shortstop, outfield, third base. Good salary saver.
Okay, very good. That brings us to the outfield.
So always a great place to spend up. In particular, there's some one-offs that I think are amazing, like Aaron Judge, Adolis Garcia, Shohei Ohtani. Like Judge and Ohtani, I keep going back and forth over which one of them is the better like power one-off today. And it's just really close, but like obviously either one of them can like hit a couple of home runs or just absolutely break a slate. Julio Rodriguez will be popular in the Seattle stacks. Fernando Tatis probably won't see as much ownership as he should. Let's see. And Cody Bellinger, I think, is going to be one of the more popular guys.
Okay. Carty, what are you doing?
Yeah, I like all those top guys. I think Teoscar is my favorite for value on probably both sites, but I really like Ohtani also. In the same lineup as Julio, Teoscar is great. And then you have just a whole bunch of value in this win game that you're going to load up on in cash. You have Benintendi, you have Luis Robert, you have Ian Happ, you have Seiya Suzuki, you have Christopher Morel. Just play a couple of those guys in cash with an expensive guy, and I think that's your approach. I like Kyle Schwarber a lot in tournaments for a home run and a little bit of leverage. You're not playing him in cash, but I think Schwarber's really interesting.
Okay. Very good. That brings us to some home run picks. course, we got the Spidey Bombs. They're scrolling at the bottom. Justin Turner, the Big Dumper, Cal Raleigh, Lane Thomas, and Spidey Bomb number 4 that just dropped Cody Bellinger. But we also want some picks from these two gentlemen right here. Squirrel, you want to lead us off with maybe a chalkier and a sneakier home run pick?
Sure. I think, I was going to go Christopher Morel. He's kind of around chalk. He's in that Cubs win game. So it'll be a little bit chalkier. And then I'll go Stone Garrett as well with Washington.
Very good. Okay, Carty, you got a couple names?
Yeah, the Bad Things Judge has the best chance, but Kyle Schwarber is very, very sneaky. He projects for the 3rd best chance tonight, so I like him quite a bit. In terms of betting, our best option tonight is quite a few Blue Jays. Vlad Guerrero plus 600, Alejandro Kirk plus 1225, both on, Vlad's on Barstool, Kirk's on 365, both showing good value tonight.
Is that still a thing? Barstool?
They have a
thought it
sports
got,
book.
like-
That's a thing. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I thought everything there was a great schism. I wasn't entirely
ESPN
sure
did
what
something.
happened. Okay.
Yeah. It's still operating.
Gotcha. Okay. Eric Johnson says Soto, probably the best play on the slate. Did anybody mention him? Is he?
I wouldn't say.
him.
Yeah.
I don't mind the
I like
Padres
Todd.
stack.
Okay, there we
Yeah,
go.
I
All
like
right,
Padres a
maybe
lot.
not best play on the slate, but we're okay with it. We're all in agreement. It's a solid little play there. Hey, we want to take some QQs. We've got 20 whopping minutes, which is way too long for questions, but we'll do it because we love you, or at least until the questions dry out. If you guys didn't know, though, if you're getting kind of tired of baseball because the season goes for 9 months out of the year, and you're thinking, boy, I wish there was another sport, a sport with a little more contact, a sport with a little more heart. Well, the NFL, my friends, is here. We are more ready than ever to help you out. Our team of experts, our incredible tools. We'll handle the legwork. You can work less. You can win more this NFL season. Get access to everything we have to offer at a special discounted rate only to those without a RotoGrinder subscription. You get a full season subscription for $50 off at a limited time only price. Limited time only price of $375. I feel like that's a typo. Sale's going to end opening night of the season, so get it while you can. $375. That is a good deal for that kind of fantastic content. Let's do some QQs. Let's see if we've got any, and we'll see how many we can get. Any interest in a Padre stack and a DK GPP? I feel like both of you are strongly on board.
Yes.
Yeah, I think they're going to be underowned. Yeah.
Yep, that's what we're looking for. High upside and low owns. DK GPP. Squirrel, thoughts on a Dodger stack versus Miley? I feel like again that is a yes.
Yep.
Very much so. This is the kind of stuff we're looking for here. FanDuel Cash, Swanson or Story, Carty?
Swanson, but I think Story's fine.
All right. DK Cash, Carty, right back to you here. Is this a real person? This can't be a real person. That must be Barnhart and not Barnfart. Barnhart and Bellinger, or Grandal and J-Rod?
It's probably a joke because Barnhart is not a good play. It's definitely Grandal J-Rod, not even close.
Okay. I'm glad that I was able to detect his real name is not Barnhart. At least that made me feel slightly.
That would have been great if you just said it straight faced and
yeah. What do you think about Barnfart today? All right, let's see what else we got here. Tankenstein. Good evening, gentlemen. FanDuel single entry Squirrel. You like Gray and Seager or Snell and Grandal?
So what was the second one?
It was Snell Grandal versus Gray Seager.
Yeah, I'll do the first. I like Gray and Seager. That's my whole thing today is spend down pitcher, spend up a hitter.
Very good. Okay. Squirrel, if you're playing single entry lineup on DK, does Baltimore make your cut for single entry?
Ooh, that's they're a little bit down there because they're facing Snell. They've got two lefties in the lineup that we weren't expecting. For single entry, it's a little bit tough. I think there'll be better stacks that are underowned.
Yeah. Okay. That makes plenty of sense. Whereas if you're playing 20, 150 lineups, you want some.
Yeah. Yeah, with 150 lineups, I'll be over the field on Baltimore stacks. Single entry, it's a little bit tough.
That makes sense. All right. We will go to Carty here. Doesn't really fill in much. He just says Story or Harris. Story or Harris.
story.
Carty, sorry if I missed it. Greg says, is James McCann definitely going to hit a bomb tonight? I just for like lawsuit reasons, we cannot promise anything. But in this theoretical situation, is it possible that he hits a home run?
He has a 9.6% chance of hitting a home run tonight. So definitely is probably smidge strong.
Okay. And is that pretty good? Like a 10% chance? That's pretty good, right?
It's not great. The elite guys have like a 30% chance.
Okay. All right. That is good. What else do we got here? Squirrel, I'm kicking it over to you. Brave stack or Texas stack in a DKGPP from Dave Jones?
I might go Texas.
All right. We'll go to Irvin Torres. Squirrel, right back to you. Belly Suzuki or Robert and Tauchman?
I'd go Belly Suzuki.
Okay. Jumping into the Discord real fast. By the way, if you're on the YouTube, hit us with a little thumbs up. Maybe it'll help me get to your question. I'm going to read them all anyways, but hit me with a thumbs up anyways. North Carolina Big Hurt says, oh, you know what? Scroll up a little bit more than that. Your favorite pitcher to play in a single entry DKGPP, Squirrel, are you willing to pay up for the top two?
I'd rather pay down.
Yeah.
So I got to go with like Gore or John Gray.
Okay. Double pay down?
You can. You don't need to. I would maybe for single entry, like go with Snell and then like Gray or one of Gray or Gore will be enough to make a difference.
Very good. All right, excellent. Favorite single entry stack and pitcher from the Big Hurt is a similar question. Squirrel, if this is FanDuel though, so give me one. Let me guess. It's Gore and Atlanta.
That's like the kind of concept that I'm going for. Like for single entry on FanDuel, it's a little bit different. Actually think like Detmers is pretty underpriced on FanDuel. He's like $1,000 cheaper than Mackenzie Gore even. So you could go like Detmers in Atlanta. Like you could go Detmers, Atlanta, and Chicago, like the Cubs. That's going to be different, but also getting you some of that win game is going to be popular.
Very nice. I like it. Okay. Carty, back to you. FanDuel cash from a side. Ozuna or Super Nintendo straight up.
Benintendi for sure.
Okay. Achilles just simply pointing out the Rangers have a 72% chance of scoring 17 runs tonight. That is a fact. Yep. Can't argue that math right there.
Seems high.
No. That's a fact. Sherman's Tanks, FanDuel cash. Carty, Morel Mushroom or Hap? I feel like Morel Mushroom's your guy tonight.
I probably prefer Hap actually, but they're both viable.
Very good. Best topping on pizza. I will let you each answer this. Carty, you can go first.
I like everything on pizza.
Just one.
My favorite is pepperoni anchovy.
Oh, Jesus. I didn't think you were going to go there. That is the worst take of all your takes. That's a terrible take.
It's not.
I've actually never had it. It just sounds gross. Squirrel, you got something better than that?
Yeah, like if I had to pick one, I'd go bacon. But I like maybe some onions and banana peppers, something like that.
Oh, look at that.
If you throw some ham and pineapple on with the bacon, that's really good too.
Now we're talking. Give me like pepperoni for the salty and spicy and then pineapple for the sweet. And that combination just rocks your socks, man. People who don't like pineapple on pizza are just flat out wrong. It's delicious. All right. What? Also some fresh basil. Excellent. Where are we at here? Scrolling up. Sorry. Got distracted. Chinatown says, hey, I missed the very top. Is Carty on Snell in cash? Oh, yeah. This is what about Castillo in cash? You down with Castillo too?
You can. On FanDuel, just play Snell. You can pair him with Snell on DK. I probably prefer to do Gaussman, but Castillo's fine.
TJ says pepperoni and anchovy sounds awful, but it's still better than a Benintendi over Ozuna take. These are baseball jokes.
Okay.
They go over my head. Carty's offended. You guys can fight it out later. Bets or judge DK cash? Carty, it's a cash question, so I'm coming to you. I love these, like when you get to spend up. These are fun for me.
Yeah, I'd rather spend up on Otani or Teoscar, but it's probably Judge over Betts for me tonight if I'm picking between the two.
Excellent. All right. Who you got?
Did I say Teoscar? I meant Julio, obviously.
Okay. Yeah. Who you got between, this is FanDuel Cash, and again, Carty, I'm going to come to you. Snell or Castillo?
Snell.
Okay. Another DK Cash pitcher question. I feel like we've just done this and just answered it. We like Snell, and then maybe Castillo is the second one. Was that it?
I prefer Gausman. Castillo's fine.
Thank you. Sorry. All right. DK single entry. Squirrel, you're back. Internet, and you were here. I just kept asking cash questions. Internet famous says Squirrel, DK single entry, Olsen or Acuna?
I go with Olsen.
Beaner, would you play Texas against Detmer? Squirrel, you got any Texas?
Yeah, absolutely. Got a ton of Texas.
MT Red Sox says, for years I've listened to RotoGrinders, and I got to say, you guys have the best baseball DFS takes and the weirdest eating habits and tastes. I mean, like, all of you. I don't know.
I got to tell you about my recent eating adventures one day after lock when we have time to kill or on a short slate.
Oh man. Okay. I mean, now I'm intrigued. So can I get a
I was
tease?
in Iceland for the All-Star break and I ate some real stuff that people would be.
You were eating like eyeballs and testicles, weren't you? You were.
Yeah, along those lines.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. I'm into it. I mean, I'm not, but I'm into hearing the story. Let's see what else we got. Rank the spends, DK Cash, Acuna Betts, Otani. It's Otani, Acuna Betts, at least in my mind. But Carty, where do you stand?
I think that's my order too.
Good. I'm good. I've been doing this for 5 months. I'm on fire. All right, back into the YouTube right now. Your one stack to win it all. This is always fun. Single entry, one stack to win it all. Squirrel, what say you?
I'll go with Texas.
Okay.
Did
Carty?
you say FanDuel single entry?
He actually didn't say, so you can just pick.
FanDuel, give me Texas. DK, give me Padres.
All right, let's see. DK GPP, Squirrel, Braves, or Texas stack?
I like both of them, but I'll go with Texas.
Okay. Scrolling down, see what else we got. We still have 10 minutes until lock. It's just absurd. Urban Torres says, Squirrel, Belly Suzuki or Robert Couchman?
Belly Suzuki. I feel like we did that one.
I know. Yeah, I've missed 8,000 questions in the YouTube chat. I'm scrolling down here. Kirkwood, of course, I couldn't say Carty eating testicles without Kirkwood jumping in the chat. To be clear, they're animal. Never mind. You know what? Just don't clip it on YouTube. All right, just don't clip it. Let's see. Alan says, "Hey Carty, you said you like both France and Vaughn. How is the projection for them in the bat? If you don't mind giving a little peek behind the curtains there."
Yeah, so Vaughn projects for 8.96 DK points. France projects for 8.43. So basically, Vaughn projects about a half a point higher. He's 300 cheaper. He's the guy you lean towards, but they're both good value plays.
Okay. This is a really fun question from Joseph. He says, who is the one pitcher to break the slate? And I suppose we could either take that as cheap guy who does really well, expensive guy who does really well, or chalky guy who absolutely bombs and kind of breaks it that way. Squirrel, who's the one pitcher to break the slate?
When I think break the slate, I think the guy with the most upside. I do think that's going to be Blake Snell.
Yeah. Okay. All right. We're adding a lot of little coins in Blake Snell's I want to play him pocket. What else do we have here? Any interest in Seattle versus KC? Carty, got any interest in Seattle versus KC?
Yeah, I like Seattle a lot tonight. I don't think they're going to be sneaky, but I think they are one of the best teams.
Okay. Someone said cauliflower crust. Let me tell you, I went to a pizza place recently, and they were like, "You got to try our cauliflower crust. It's so good." And I was like, "All right, that's weird that you would like push that on me randomly. It must be really good." So I tried it, and I was so pissed off because it just was like, it wasn't good. It wasn't good. I was like, "Why did you sell
Cauliflower
me
crust
this?"
doesn't taste better than normal crust. It's
Right.
better for you, so like you can eat it. I don't have a problem with it, but don't
Right.
say it's better than normal pizza.
Why would they sell me on the cauliflower crust as if I was going to be blown away? It was super mediocre. And then I was pissed off because I wanted pizza, not cauliflower with pizza ingredients on it. Really, really ruined my whole night.
I've gone through that almost exact same scenario where it's something that tastes surprisingly good for something that's good for you. It's not better than the thing that's bad for you.
Right. Yeah. But there's really no comparison here.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Any thoughts on Milwaukee one-offs, Squirrel, against Kershaw?
I don't love it. I don't know if their lineups out yet. So like I would maybe full stack or avoid Milwaukee.
Okay. Let's see. Chinatown says, Squirrel, is Javier Assad a good pitcher? He's been great in his starts. P.S. Cauliflower crust is terrible. Agreed.
Assad did not make my pool today, so I just don't know a ton about him. But he's in that win game, so like I would tend to avoid that.
All right. Oh, to be clear, cauliflower crust got brought up for Steve. Steve is cutting out pizza because he's getting shredded. So he's going to be six-pack Steve soon. So that's why the cauliflower crust. That makes sense. Let's go.
Keto diet, it sucks. But I shed like 17 pounds in 5 weeks.
Damn.
Awesome.
Good
No
job,
carbs.
man.
No
Good
carbs.
luck.
Yeah, it's really good.
This beer is
Cauliflower
so
crust is
tasty,
fine.
though.
It doesn't taste
Oh,
good as
Roth.
pizza.
I haven't had a beer
good.
that whole time either.
Good for you. That's the real key. If you can cut out alcohol, you can really make some progress. Let's see what else we got. Honestly, we have answered just about all the questions. We got a few more. Best Padre DK straight up, Squirrel.
The best Padre, Tatis.
That was easy enough. Carty, what are your thoughts on Kershaw's pitch count? DK single entry.
Yeah, so Kershaw was supposed to go, I think, 75 in his last start, and he was a little under 70. So it's a little tough to know what his max is going to be tonight. I don't think you're getting more than 90. I think you're probably between 80 and 90 tonight for Kershaw.
Okay. Is that enough?
Personally, I'd rather just play, especially since you're not getting really any sort of discount on him, even ownership, not that much. I think I'd rather just take the upside on like a Gaussman or Castillo or Nola or Paxton or obviously Snell and not worry about Kershaw tonight.
Okay. Jay Brunton says, who is the greatest RG name butcher? Is it Stevie with Swazinski today? No. There are some dudes' names that I just straight up can't pronounce. Like, I just can't do it no matter how many. Castellano, that dude? No, can't do it. Yeah, for whatever reason, that guy's name, I just can't. My mouth doesn't allow me to say that word. What else we got? Tatis Jr., Robert Jr., straight up on Fanduel. Carty, who do you like?
Tatis or Robert Jr. or J-Rod? J-Rod.
I think it was just Tatis. Oh, yeah. No, that was it. Sorry. Yeah. J-Rod. Very good.
Yeah.
Chris says, do they throw at Robert tonight? Kirkwood. Did something happen that they should throw at Robert? I don't watch this. We know.
I am not sure, actually.
Yeah. No. It's like the end of baseball season, but it's not even the end. It's the part that no one really cares about. It's the month of the season that absolutely should not exist. This is the part they just need to.
Well, your baseball takes are not welcome here. I know that you don't like it that much, but there's not a part of the season that should be cut out or that people don't care about.
No, there is.
Baseball
it's right now. It's happening. No. To be fair, I'm going to a game on Sunday. I'm pretty pumped. I'm going to the Astros game. I'm bringing my 3-year-old to her first game. I feel like it's going to be a lot of fun. So I'm pretty excited for that. All right. What else do we have? Andrew says Fanduel. That's not a question. He's just saying his lineup is going to win. Good for you. Jerry says Fanduel cash question. Carty, I'm coming to you. Tauchman Moral or Benintendi J-Rod?
definitely the second one.
Our guy Joaquin in the chat says, "This is how you pronounce Castellanos." I can't do. It doesn't. I can't. It doesn't.
It's
work.
a double
Can't do
L. It has like the Spanish double. It's like a Y. Castellanos.
Can't do it. Can't explain it. Can't do it. We got a football question. We're almost to lock now. We're just going to hold on for dear life. Does Carty? Hang on. Who is your favorite single entry pitcher on Fanduel, Squirrel?
FanDuel, single entry. I'll go with Gore. I'll go with Gore. Just spend all the money, or go even cheaper with Detmers.
Okay. Andrew says, "No, I was asking a question." All right, my bad. Here's the question, Squirrel. Betts as a short, Michael Harris and Teoscar outfielders, Reyes at short, Lane Thomas and Betts in outfield.
I think I'd go with the first one. It's going to be a little bit chalkier, but without knowing the context, I think I'd go with the first one.
I don't even know how the hell you were able to digest that. Good for you, man. You understood what was happening, and I did not.
I just took it as a 3 for 3.
Okay, good work. Good work. Should I stack them up against Kramer? Carty, should we stack them up against Kramer?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, great. Garlic bread or garlic knots from Snowfighter? This could be one of the final questions of the night. Garlic bread or garlic knots? Squirrel?
Go with garlic bread.
Yeah, I'm in agreement. Carty?
Yes, both of them.
Yeah.
I don't have a preference. They're both good.
Yeah, garlic knots don't do it for me. They're like kind of hard, and they don't have like the softness. I don't know. I'm out on garlic knots, but many in the chat agree with both as the correct take. D Gold says going to the game with your 3-year-old is not going to be fun, but good for you anyways. Maybe you're right. It could be absolutely miserable. I hadn't considered that possibility, but you're probably right. All right. Hey, guess what? We hit the lock. That is excellent work. Wonderful show. Good job hanging on for 20 minutes of questions through food and stories, time, and everything else. If you're watching this on YouTube, thumbs up. That was glorious stuff. For Carty, for Squirrel, for our wonderful production crew, always working hard behind the scenes. Guys, we do appreciate you. We love it. And we will catch you tomorrow. You have been.